Hello YouTubers! Tommy here from Overland Transportation System with the first update video of 2021. This video is going to be more of what I plan to do than what I have done since the last video. So let me just turn the camera around and we'll get right to it. Okay, so let's begin with a slow pan around the room. First thing you can see from the last update is I now have some brown curtains that are hanging somewhat in the place of where they're going to be. They've been folded back over on themselves because I have to do some fascia work before I can hang them right where they need to be. These curtains were my Christmas present, and they will begin from this corner right here. The first curtain will end right in this angle. The next curtain will go about midway down. The third curtain will end in this corner, and the fourth one will go around the end. As you can see, they do a good job of hiding everything underneath the layout. If we come down here and turn the camera around, this table in the center where I currently have my N-scale Christmas train running, if you recall from earlier videos, this table was just piled up with all kinds of train boxes and parts and all kinds of stuff that has to do with the layout. I pulled all that down, set up the Christmas layout. I built some wooden shelves underneath the layout. Jan stitched up these curtains for me for my Christmas present, and I continued to install some UTP panels around the layout, and that's why they're folded back on themselves. What I plan to do is I want to cover this face with some hardboard. I'll probably go an inch, inch and a half above the layout, and probably an inch or so below the layout. I'll cut those holes for these different panels, and then this curtain can run straight underneath all these panels using Velcro. If I didn't do it that way, we would have to cut little boxes out, you know, of the curtain and put all the Velcro around the stuff. And the more I thought about it, I decided I got 3 layers of foam here that I want to protect and cover. So if I come above it and below it, I have a nice fascia board, make the cuts in it, and straight run of the Velcroed curtain underneath that. The reason I want to come above this a little bit is because I've yet to decide and determine how I want to contour this layout scenery, and so if I come above, I can take my pencil and draw on the back side of it. I can take my little jigsaw, cut that out to follow the contour, and paint it brown like the rest of it, and it'll be a nice finish fascia. The other thing that I have been doing, as I said, I've got my UTP panels now installed here. I've got one down here, and the last one down in this location. Okay, so I'm using the NCE Power Cab. It's a fully self-contained unit, so that first power cab stays located right here in the yard. It doesn't move. It's the brain of the system, and it's controlled on the back side by the 6-wire. Let's see, we get it so you can see it better. Yeah, with the regular phone jack type thing. I think they call it an RGB connector. That goes from the power source to the back of this panel, which controls the unit, and in the front they use a 4-wire. Now with this thing staying stationary here, and the 6-wire coming from daisy chain from the back of here to, where are we, the back of here, I can take this second handheld unit and I can plug it in the face. I can move it from panel to panel and the train will not shut down. Okay, so in a way, this second power cab almost becomes what they call a pro cab, where you can't run it untethered. The train will go untethered, but you'll have no control over it. So I can now go with my train around the layout, which I couldn't do before. The other thing that I have done is in this whole yard area, past the scenery, I have added my ties where I made all my solder joints. And let's see here, I've ended up in this area here and the back. So all in this area, all the way to the end, I have to continue putting in my ties where I did my solder joints. So that's yet to be done. The other thing that is awaiting me is when I start doing my Masonite fascia, I'll also do my backboard. All this is leftover foam from when I did the layout, and I just put that up there for a light block coming through the windows, and also just to give a blue background, just to get an idea of what things were going to look like, just like these trees. As I explained in an earlier video, these all came off an old N-scale layout. I had them all stored in a bag. I just planted them out here just to get an idea of what the layout would look like scenic. None of this is going to stay the way it is. That's going to all change. And kind of what I have in mind is as you come out of the yard here, I may have a tunnel in this area right here. I'm not sure. And from this tunnel portal perhaps down to here where it comes out, that basically will like symbolize about 10 miles of landscape area to transition from the yard into the industrial area. We'll see. You know, this is always in a state of flux. You get ideas. If they work out, fine. If they don't, you rework it into something else. Yeah, so that's all up in the air. The industries that I got presently planned, again, I don't have any building flats or anything going on yet, but this here will probably be a 2-bay warehouse type of a thing, where I'll have at least one door can handle a 50-foot boxcar to the end. And then I found out through my beginning operations that this Legatrack can only handle an engine and 3 cars. So that makes some interesting switching maneuvers when I want to bring a flat car in for lumber and I want to bring a tanker in for my formaldehyde. As I had described in earlier videos, my plan for this, and I finally have a name for the layout now. I guess I'm going to call it Piney Woods. It's going to be the Piney Woods layout. This area down here is going to be the Piney Woods sawmill. And as you can, I just got 3 log cars. So I'm investigating how many cars can go on each spur here. The plan is to unload the logs in this area here. Again, there's no building yet really, so it'll go into the sawmill and lumber will come out on one of the legs. The empty log cars will go on the other leg. Back inside and behind the sawmill will be all the chip cars. I do have 6 of those now. And this little CSX switcher, he's on his own little spur. He is going to be the designated switcher for the sawmill. His job is going to be to pick up the log cars left here on the turnaround and bring them down into the sawmill, pull the empties back out and set out to be picked up by the main engine that's going to be coming down out of the yard. And his job also is to, well, we'll travel around here. He's going to come up into here. Then he has to back on down, right down through this building here, and pick up those chip cars. Now, what I want to do here, we'll see. This is going to be quite an endeavor. What I'm hoping to do is to scratch build this. This building is just sitting here now just for a placement. I want to scratch build a building, and as these chip cars come slowly through this building, I want to build inside that building some sort of a rotating situation that's got some of the very small neodymium magnets. I'll put magnets in the loads on the chip car, and as the full cars come in, they'll slowly come out the other end empty, and I'll pick up the loads from underneath the layout. That's the idea. We'll see how the mechanics of it's going to have to work, but I would like to really do that. Okay, so we got the sawmill, we got lumber coming out, we've got the pulp and chips coming out on that leg there. Now this whole area here is going to be another part of the lumber yard where the pulp and chips and stuff are going to get unloaded here. This here will be a formaldehyde track. The chips and the formaldehyde will make particle board. The particle board will come out on a loading dock in this area and get picked up on the bulkhead flat cars. And so that will be that whole industry. I'm thinking I want to concentrate on just some single bigger industries rather than a conglomeration of little industries. And again, it's always in a state of flux. That's the idea. We'll see how it all works out. As we described up here, is just going to be a warehouse type of a deal. And then it's hard to even see the track right now because of all the scenery. But this here, where we got this little flat car with some tanks and stuff on it, this here is just going to be a team track where less than car loads will come in and get things unloaded at a little freight house, just so I can have a variety of some stuff coming in on flat cars and stuff like that. And back in here, we're going to have an industry which I think is probably going to be for grain. It's going to probably be a grain elevator. I was thinking about putting the grain elevator in this area, but then I was thinking it was going to block a lot of the scenery in the back, and I didn't really want to do that. If I don't put the grain elevator back here, that'll be the warehouse, and the grain elevator can go on this leg here all by itself. And that really wraps up about all that I've got going on at this point. So what I will do is just run a train, and we will wrap up this video after I run one. Okay, it's gonna fire up. All right, it says locomotive 1429, which, let's see here. Here is locomotive 1429. So let's throw the engine switch. Okay, let's make sure my switch is straight through. It is. Straight through, and let's roll on some power. Give him his headlight. And here he goes. Now, one of my plans here also, I'm trying, as I'm working this all out, I'm also creating my rules by which the railroad will work. And what I want to say is that this switcher here, he shuffles all the cars in and out of the incoming and outgoing loads on the arrival departure track. Okay, let me take the throttle. It's a little tricky doing the camera, doing the throttle. If you have any ideas of a good quality product that you can recommend for a tripod that would go from the floor to about this layout that would work with an iPhone, please let me know in the comments, because as I start doing more videos about the operations, it's going to be awful hard to do camera in one hand and the throttle in the other, and looking through the viewfinder to make sure you're seeing what I'm talking about. Okay, so I got some little tags here showing the direction of the switch for the yard and the main. All right, so it's already set to the main. Let me switch it over to the yard. Let's see here. Okay, and down here is track 1 and 2. This is track 3. Track 3 I usually use for sorting. Track 1 and 2 right now is for storage. So let's just come on down on track 2, and we'll pick up these 2 box cars and the tanker. All right, so let's change my direction to reverse. Roll on some throttle. Okay, so as I was saying, this little yard switcher, he handles all the work in the yard, incoming and outgoing. That little station that you see up there, what I think I'm going to plan to do is that all the work orders come out of there. Every morning the orders come out, they go down to the switcher. He gets his work order, he comes down here, he hooks onto whatever loads he's going to work with. He's going to pull them out and put them out on the main, and then whichever one of these road engines I choose to use that day, they will then come out, hook on to the train, and they will run up into the industrial area and do their drops and pickups. Then they'll bring it back here, drop it on the main. They will park and turn in their work order up to the yard office, and the switcher will come out and sort the cars as needed. So he should be hooked up. Let's put him forward, and let's run him down into the industrial area. The other thing that I haven't put in place for my rules is that the speed in the yard, it's going to be 5 miles an hour. So on my throttle, it's only going to be 2 to 3. Now, here's what I was talking about with this thing working as a power cam. It's underway. So now I can unplug this. This went out, but the train is still running. So I can move my throttle down to one of my holders. A little tricky doing it all in one. Sorry about the amusement ride here. Come up here to this UTP panel, plug it in, and we're fired back up. Okay, and as you can see, if I roll on the throttle, I got full control over them. Okay, so we'll just run them down into this main. Won't really do an switching operations, but we'll run them down here just to run a train at the end of this video. Just kind of show you how the track work is working out, how smooth the trains are running. I'm very, very happy. I haven't had any derailments. Everything's working fine. I didn't check this ahead of time. Let's make sure he's good. That switch is good. So we'll run them. We'll run them right on down into the sawmill. Maybe I'll even change the switch there. And he'll go down on the other spur past those empty log cars. Okay, now change direction. Let's focus here. And reverse. Roll on some throttle. And back he comes. This time when he backs through, let's send him through the runaround. Okay, make sure this is straight. Okay, and switch this one. One other thing I did find in just some basic beginning operations. Here he comes. I did find that up in my warehouse where I said it can only handle 3 cars and an engine, I think what I'm going to do, and it would make logical sense for the railroad, is on this piece of track right here, I'm going to put a left-hand switch up here and just a short spur there for off spots, overload, that type of thing, so that it makes sense if I'm switching. I don't have to come all the way back down into the main. I can actually do some switching on just a short leg up in that area. Okay, so he's going back to the yard. So we're going to take our power head, we're going to unplug it. He's still going. We'll come back down where we were and plug it back in, and we got control. Alrighty, so I'm going to wrap up this video, and we'll call this one a wrap, and we'll see you on the next update. Alrighty, bye-bye.